That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan. That is for zakah, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. Sa is for salamun alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum assalam.
Nothing ever happens by chance. Really.
Now, they don't know your name. They will see your game. Turn the dark to light. Answer the call. No one can stop your shine. The world
Focus on the destination and not the journey, or where you're from. Never ever settle. Make big moves from your small space.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Viewers at homes, as well as our listening audience all over the world, you are welcome back to another segment of your program. And today we are going to be looking at the differences between Mutawalli and the Nadhir. It is important for us to ask, what is the meaning of Mutawalli and what is the meaning of Nadhir? And Islamic finance, particularly looking at the subsector of Islamic finance, which is Islamic social finance, there are certain instrumentalities that this Islamic social finance uses, to bring public good to its domain. So one of these instrumentalities of the Islamic social finance is called Waqf. Waqf, if we want to give it a literal meaning for the purpose of understanding of our audience or viewers, we may say it is synonymous with an endowment, but that is not the correct meaning, from the Islamic social finance perspective. But for the purpose of this conversation, let's take it to mean endowment. And those who are supposed to be in charge of managing the endowments, are those we referred to as the Mutawalli and the Nadhir. So a Mutawalli, in a nutshell, is a trustee of Waqf asset or Waqf property. Or we may even say a Mutawalli is a custodian of a Waqf property or Waqf asset. While a Nadhir is the supervisor, if we are talking about a natural person. But if we are talking about a non-natural person, it may be a supervisory body in charge of the management of Waqf asset or Waqf property. Having said that, it is important also for me to mention that there are quite a number of similarities in terms of the role that both the Mutawalli and the Nadhir they perform. Let me just quickly mention some of them because of time. Number one is that both the Mutawalli and the Nadhir do manage the Waqf assets in accordance with the terms and conditions laid down by the Waqf. The Waqf is referred to as the donor. So there are quite a number of terminologies that are being used when we are talking about Waqf, as an instrument of Islamic social finance. The number two similarities that exist between the Mutawalli and then the Nadhir is that both of them do implement the instructions of the Waqf, the donor, as long as it is Sharia compliant. At times, a donor, a Waqf, out of maybe ignorance or lack of proper understanding of the Sharia guidelines and principles, may say, this mawkuf, this property I'm giving to you, this is the way I want you to do it. But when Islamic jurists look at it and they discover that that may not be in line with the Sharia, it is the responsibility of both the Mutawalli and the Nadhir to correct it, because it must be in line with the Sharia principles. Number 3 similarities between both of them is that both the Mutawalli and the Nadhir, it is their responsibility to safeguard and protect the Waqf assets, which is called mawkuf, which is the Waqf property or Waqf asset. Number 4 similarity is that both of them also do maintain, the Waqf assets in good conditions. They are also expected to invest them in Sharia-compliant investment portfolios. At the same time, they are also expected to collect their revenues and also maintain proper record keeping and distribute the proceeds from these zakat properties or zakat assets, to those that are being referred to as mawqufu alayhi. The mawqufu alayhi are the beneficiaries. So I'm sorry if I'm using some of these technical, terms. It is important that we get used to them. Then the number 5 area of similarity is that both of them are also expected to carry out the work they are expected to carry out all necessary acts for the maintenance, management, investment, and the development of the mawkuf. The mawkuf is the Waqf asset or the Waqf property. The last but not the least is that both of them must be very cautious. They must also be very diligent and also discharge a fiduciary duty to Waqf assets as well as to the beneficiaries who are supposed to be the mawqufu alayhi. These are some of those areas where both the Mutawalli and the Nadhir have similar responsibilities or similar rule. Now let us look at some of their differences, their specific differences. As mentioned earlier, the Mutawalli, is a trustee or a custodian of the mawkuf, that is the Waqf asset or the Waqf property. While on the other hand, the Nadhir is a supervisor. So the Nadhir only supervises or manages a segment, of the mawkuf, that is of the Waqf assets, but not the overall or the entire asset. But if we are talking about a non-natural person, then the Nadhir in this case may be referred to as a supervisory body that has more than, we are talking about an institution or a unit or an agency. That is with regards to their status. Now let us look at with regards to the scope of their responsibility. With regards to the responsibility of the Mutawalli has a broader responsibility of the entire Waqf assets, ensuring its proper maintenance and maximizing its benefit for the intended, beneficiaries, or are the mawqufu alayhi. But when we talk about the Nadhir in terms of their responsibility, the Nadhir, he or she usually, manages a specific portion of the Waqf assets or its income stream, and not the entire, Waqf asset. Number 3, when we talk about the decision-making power of the Mutawalli and the Nadhir, they differ. In the case of the Mutawalli, when we talk about decision-making power, the Mutawalli often holds more significant decision-making power regarding major administrative decisions related to the mawkuf, that is, to the Waqf assets. But in the case of the Nadhir, he or she, or it may have more operational authority within their designated area out of the entire, Waqf asset or Waqf property. Then the number 4, with regards to the appointment of either the Mutawalli or the Nadhir, the differences here lies squarely With regards to the Mutawalli is appointed by the founder, that is the Waqf, the person who is the donor or the testator who wants to put down a Waqf, but the selection process may vary, based on the local customs and regulations, and particularly the environment. But with regards to the Nadhir, appointment is made by the Mutawalli or by the board, of the Waqf. So we can see the differences here. So in a nutshell, we also want to look at the differences with regards to accountability. The Mutawalli, when it comes to accountability, it is the responsibility of the Mutawalli, to be in charge of the consideration and approval of the annual audited accounts of the income and expenditure of the Waqf organizations, or the Waqf property or assets, as the case may be. But it is the responsibility of the Nadhir to put into place, processes, to cause the internal auditor to prepare the internal audited accounts, as well as to now extend that to the external auditors. And when that is done, they now put this document before the Mutawalli for their consideration and approval. So in a nutshell, these are some of the differences with regards to the role or the duties of the Mutawalli and the Nadhir in terms of their status, in terms of their scope of responsibility, in terms of their decision-making power, and in terms of the appointment as well as accountability. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله. آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم